Welcome to the Modern Indian lecture series. In this lecture we are going to take chapter 3 and it is the part 5 for it. Already we have discussed part 1 to part 4. And in this lecture we are going to take the expansion under Lord Wellesley from the 1798 to 1805, and this is the topic of the Bipin Chandra Pal. Okay, so all the contents that have been displayed in the PPT has been taken from the Bipin Chandra. Moving ahead to this lecture, I will request you to please subscribe this channel. This is a new channel. I really need your support. Further, I will request you to please go through this lecture till the end so that you will have a complete picture of the knowledge. So, how British led a plan to have a large expansion. So earlier when the British entered into the India with the motive of the business, okay, with the motive of the business, but later they realized if they acquired the expansion policy, then it is benefiting them more. Okay, and in the expansion policy what was happening, so it was like they were capturing the whole territory, and of that territory they were capturing the military of that kings, of the princes, or of the kingdom, and all the taxes, whatever the taxes will be were going to be collected by the British only, and the army were used to be maintained by the kingdom. Okay, so there was nothing burden on the British side. Okay, so thus it helped in increasing the profit of the British East India Company, and ultimately they acquired the expansion policy. So how this expansion policy benefited them, and Lord Wellesley had a great role in that, and after that the expansion policy proved made the British to as a backfire, and Wellesley was called back to the British as the uh, frequent involvement in the wars, and this war was like fighting the war is also a loss to the British, where the life of the British employee and the money was being spent for all those wars and all. Okay, so those things we are going to discuss in the lecture. So the next large expansion of the British rule in India occurred during the governor generalship of the Lord Wellesley. So he was the main person responsible for the expansionist policy. Okay, for the expansionist policy. So who came to India in 1798, and in 1799 Tipu Sultan was dead. So the fight was happening with the Mysore at the time. Okay, so he entered into the India. He came to India in the 1798 at a time of the British were locked in a life and death struggle with the France all over the world. Okay, so during that time there was a continuous struggle between the France and the British, and during that time there was a war happening between. There was a fight and struggle happening between the Mysore and the British. Okay, in that Mysore lost the war during after his entrance, as in the 1799 Tipu Sultan was died, and Tipu Sultan uh, was going to get help from the Afghanistan region, from the French and all, but before getting the help he was killed in the war. Okay, and why it happened, so all those things we'll see in the next slide. So earlier British had the policy to look for the gains when it could be made safely without antagonizing the major Indian powers. So it is like earlier when British entered into the Indian arena, so it was like they were focused mainly upon the business, and in the business it was like they will take the farman or the permission from the kingdom, from the emperor of the kingdom, and like that like that they will get the gains, earn the profit from that whole scenarios and whole business strategy. Okay, but after that when they got the taste in the Bengal region, that when they captured the Nawab of Bengal region and they earned the profit was increased, like after the battle of Palasi and the battle of Buxar, it was seen that the British had increased the profit significantly. So ultimately they realized that this kind of policy is more profit to the business, to the company. Okay, thus the Lord Wellesley decided that the time was ripe for the bringing as many Indian estates as possible under the British control, so that all the taxes, all the revenues will come directly under the British control. Okay, so British will be like the government kind of things without any administration thing, because they were not bothering about the local people. Okay, so the two strongest power by 1797 was Mysore and the Maratha, where the Mysore lost, as like during before that period, the two main power Mysore and Maratha, and both were declining in the power at the time. Why what happened in the Mysore in 1799? Our Tipu Sultan will die, will be killed. Okay, so thus Mysore will fall down, Mysore will decline in the power. And in the Maratha case, there were continuous struggle or quarrel between these different sardars. Okay, so there was no unity, so there was disunity was present between the Maratha sardars, and thus if there is no unity, power will automatically decline. Why? The British had the arsenal, the mechanical arsenal and the technologies and all, and even you don't have a unity, so how you are going to won the war? So thus the power between the Maratha and the Mysore declined during this period. So political conditions in India were propitious for a policy of expansion, and aggression was easy as well as profitable for it. Okay, so this was one of the main method, aggression, outright war. Okay, outright war means like immediate attack or aggressively attack on a particular region to get the expansion of the get to expand the British Empire. Okay, that was one of the method to acquire the region by the Lord Wellesley. Okay, so it was easy and profitable for them. So what was the methods to achieve political aim? This is the part 1 of it. So there were total 3 methods. Okay, so one method was the subsidiary alliance. What is the subsidiary alliance? It is like, subsidiary alliance was like that: British will not be bothered about military expenses. Okay, and military expenses will come under the British rule only. Okay, so what are the expenses that have to be incurred, that will be taken care by the empire only, by the ruling king only, and the ruling king will not have any power to surcharge or give money or administration kind of things. He does not have a power. So it will like the British soldier will stationed in the empire, in the kingdom. Okay, and all whatever the taxes will be there, that will be collected by the British only. Okay, so that was something called a subsidiary alliance. So what exactly we'll see here. See, the ruler of the allying Indian state was compelled to accept the permanent stationing of the British forces within his territory and to pay a subsidy for a maintenance. Okay, so British, we are like, let us suppose I am giving a rent, I am giving a rent to a person to live in my house, and I am paying money to that person only. That owner is paying money to that renter. Okay, that kind of thing was happening here. That king is allowing the British soldier to be stationed in his empire. Okay, and king have to pay money to this soldier in order to for the maintenance and all. And why king want this soldier? King, the threat for the king and the empire is British only. We are allowing them to enter in my territory and I am paying for it. Okay, so that was kind of a irony kind of things. Okay, so within his territory they have to pay subsidy for the maintenance. Sometimes the ruler ceded the part of his territory instead of paying annual subsidy. Okay, so it is like let us suppose if king is unable to pay a particular subsidy or maintenance to the British, so in order to that, king will give a part of his territory to British. Okay, so that will come on, that is coming under subsidiary alliance only. Okay, further they would not be able to employ any European in his service without the approval of the British. So one of the main benefit, one of the key benefit of the subsidiary alliance was that British was making sure that French will not come under his area. Okay, and the British will have a control over that territory. Okay, so thus the as per the alliances, as per the system of alliances, they will not be able to employ any European in his service without the approval of the British. Okay, so other European means what? It will be the British people only that will get employed. They can't give they are not going to give employment to the French people and all. Okay, indirectly, by signing this alliance, an Indian state virtually signed away its independence. They lost, they used to lose their independence after signing this treaty, after these alliances. What does it mean? You can't station your army, you can't keep your own army, British army will be there, you have to pay maintenance for it. Okay, so British does not have any responsibility for it. And the troops are stationed in this empire to give protection to the king. But the threat for the king is who? British only, and British is stationing his army within the territory of them. So this is the irony kind of things. Okay, so thus after signing this alliance, they lost their following rights. What kind of rights? Right to self defense, it will come under the British only. This is the station army of the British. Maintaining the diplomatic relations, they can't maintain any diplomatic relations with the other states. Okay, employing foreign trade experts, they can't employ any other foreign employee within their empire. Settling of disputes with their, they don't have, it is like they don't have any political ties, they can't connect with the other states and all. You are, it is like a you trapped in a thing, you are in a prison. Okay, you can't connect with the outside world. That this whole thing, self defense, you don't have a self defense, you can't maintain diplomatic relations, you can't settle disputes with the other neighbors. What, you are not allowed to talk with anyone. It is like you are in a prison kind of things. Okay, so these rights were snatched after signing this subsidiary alliance. So this was one of the wealthy methods to acquire the territory, that will come under the expansionist policy. Okay, what are the two things we will discuss in the end. Okay, now cost of subsidiary forces were very high. Maintaining this standing army within the territory was very high, in fact much beyond the paying capacity of the state. So it was like the prices that was fixed for the maintenance was very high. Now what king had to do if he is unable to pay the maintenance charge? He have to cede his, he have to give his certain part of the territory to the British. Okay, so see this logic. Price is high, very high, and British know they will not be able, they will not be able to, they would not be able to pay that amount on the time. Thus on that place they have to give a certain territory to the British. See, this was expansion. Here expansion is happening. They kept the price high, and the price is high, so thus the king will not be able to pay this fee, and ultimate the king had to give a certain part of territory to the British, and thus British will have British will acquire that land. Okay, after that again this a small place will be a small territory will be with the king, and again he will not be able to pay the tax because the amount of fees is amount of charge is the same only. Then again he have to give territory to the British. So this was kind of expansion happening with the British with this kind of subsidiary alliance. Okay, this system also led to the disbandment of the armies of the protected states. Like if there is any protected states, and if you are keeping a private army, you can't keep it. Lakhs of soldiers were deprived of their livelihood, spreading misery and degradation to the country. So as the protected states soldiers were not allowed, thus they became jobless. So the degradation within the country, misery in the country was increasing. People were oppressed as they did not have any fear from them. What does it mean? That in a democratic kind of government, political power fear with the people. If you are not doing anything in the welfare of the people, in the next election they are not going to vote you. But there is not kind of situation here. People people can go to the king only at the time. Okay, and king was under the pressure of British. Ultimately king is only deprived, so how people is going to get benefit from it? Thus people were also oppressed at the time. Okay, so British were on advantage side with the subsidiary alliance. Already we have discussed, here it is point wise. Okay, so they were maintaining their large army at the cost of Indian states, and whenever the war was happening in the world with the France and in the America and the regions and all, they were picking our own Indian people to fight into that region. It means like they don't have to pay any maintenance cost. The salary was very less. They pick the Indian people, fight them there. Even if they died, there is no loss to the British people. Okay, ultimately it was a win-win situation for them from either side. Okay, they enabled them to fight war from the territory. So Nizam of Hyderabad in in 1798 and in 1800 signed this treaty, this subsidiary alliance treaty with the Lord Wellesley, and Nizam ceded part of his territory in the lieu of cash payment. So it was like he given a part of territory, and as he don't have a cash with the revenue was less in the charge of, like he was unable to pay the maintenance charge to the British, and at the end he has to give the territory to the British. Okay, Nawab of Awadh, this was for the Nizam of Hyderabad. Now the Nawab of Awadh. Nawab of Awadh was forced to sign in 1801. He surrendered large part of his territory consisting of Rohilkhand and the territory lying between the Ganga and the Jamuna. This was a very fertile region. It means the people living into this region will have a great high production in the agriculture. This territory was also given to the British. Thus the revenue of the British got increased. This was a very fertile region. Disbanded his private army and stationed British troop in any part of his state. So thus Nawab of Awadh came into this subsidiary alliance. Hyderabad also came into the subsidiary alliance. Wellesley dealt with now the main power was the Maratha, Mysore and all regions. So Mysore, Carnatic, Tanjore, Surat were more sternly. So now here he dealt with more strictly with those regions. So continuous war fighting was being done with the Mysore, and in that fighting with the war, Tipu Sultan did not accepted the subsidiary alliance. Okay, he did not accept the subsidiary alliance, and he proudly accepted the death on the place of the humiliating alliance. So Tipu of Mysore never agreed with the subsidiary treaty. Further, he failed to get his lost half territory in the 1792. So in 1792 he lost few of the territory with the British, and he also failed to regain that territory. So he trained his force well and entered into negotiation for an alliance with the revolutionary France. So he made alliance and he made some deal with the France. Even he sent his missionary to Afghanistan, Arabia and Turkey region to form an anti-British alliance part, so that they together will fight war with the British. Okay, but what happened, the help coming from the different state were late, and before that Tipu was killed by the British, and thus Mysore was captured by the British. Okay, and as the British captured the Mysore, he gave that territory to the previous ruler from whom the Hyder Ali captured it. Okay, thus it was like British was like for that king to whom he gifted this territory, is like I'm helping you, I'm giving you the territory to rule. Okay, but then again the alliances will all the taxes will all will be imposed, and the territory will come under the British. Okay, see, the British main thing was that they don't want to rule. Okay, they don't bother about the people of the region. The only thing that they care was revenue and taxes. Like the taxes they bother about, whatever the taxes and the products and all, like the business part, they only care about the business part, they don't care about the people. Okay, thus they used to give the territory to the king to rule, because they don't want to rule. If they rule, it means like they will have a responsibility to the people as well. If the people will have a problem, they will come to them only. Okay, to skip those part, they used to give ruling authority to the king, so that even any problem that will happen to the people, they will come to the king, not to the British. And at the end, king will not have any power, because all the things will come under the British only. So that was a tactic happened by taken by the British. Okay, so same thing is mentioned here. So Tipu trained his force and well entered the negotiation for an alliance with the revolutionary France. He sent missions to the Afghanistan, Arabia, Turkey to forge an anti-British alliance, and British army attacked Tipu and killed him 1799 before French could help him. So before reaching the help to the Tipu, he was killed, and Tipu, on the verge of death, refused to accept peace on humiliating terms. He refused to accept the subsidiary treaty, and he accepted the death like a lion. Okay, so he did like a hero while defending his capital Seringamapatnam. He's remained loyal to him till the end. Later, it was later after the death, it when the Mysore was captured by the British, so it was given to the Raja, from whom the Hyder Ali seized power earlier. Subsidiary alliance was signed by them, and eventually Mysore became the independent upon the company, and subsidiary alliance was signed. That was the main aim. Okay, so again the Mysore came into their power. Now Maratha. Nizam, see, Hyderabad is done, Awadh is done, and now Mysore is also done. Now they will bother about the Maratha kingdom. How Maratha kingdom was captured. See, in 1801, Lord Wellesley, see, 1799 Tipu died and everything was captured and all. Okay, so now in 1891, Lord Wellesley forced a new treaty upon the Nawab of Carnatic, compelling him to cede his kingdom to the company in return of a pension. That was a part of a subsidiary alliance thing. Okay, now we'll come to the Maratha. Maratha were the only major Indian power left outside the sphere of British control. Okay, and Wellesley now paid his attention toward them and began aggressive interference in the internal affairs. Okay, now it was like earlier what happened, there was a fight, war happened with the grouping of Hyderabad, Maratha and Mysore with the British. Okay, after that divide and rule happened, where the British break the alliance between the Hyderabad, between the Maratha and between the Mysore. Okay, then having a strategy with the Maratha collided together. Hyderabad was captured with the British. Okay, now subsidiary alliance was imposed to the Hyderabad. Then Mysore was captured, where Tipu Sultan died. Then third is the Maratha. Now how they are going to take over the Maratha? They started to interfere into the internal affairs of the Maratha kingdom. And what are the internal affairs? There was a quarrel happening between the Sardars. There was disunity present between the Sardars for the power, and they started to again impose the divide and rule within the territory. British was famous for the divide and rule thing only. Okay, because they knew unity always paid them, always proved to be a costly for them. Okay, so Maratha at the time was divided into 5 big chiefs. What was the 5 big chiefs? Peshwa at the Pune, Gaikwad at Baroda, Scindia at Gwalior, Holkar at Indore, and Bhosle of Nagpur. Okay, now we will see that Holkar at Indore proved to be a great ruler, and they won with the British as well. Peshwa and the Scindia formed a group alliance, and they fought with the British, but at the end they lost. So we'll see in the coming section. So all of them involved in the quarrel within themselves only, so they were blind to the real danger from the rapidly advancing foreigner. Okay, so Peshwa and Scindia were continually offered for the treaty. So they were continually offered for the treaty. So like British were offering them, Peshwa and the Scindia, with much relaxation to them. Okay, but they did not accept it. Far-sighted Nana Fadnavis refused to fall in the trap of the British with this treaty offered. However, on 25 October 1802, on the Diwali day, Holkar defeated the combined army of Peshwa and Scindia. So now what happened? See, Peshwa and Scindia were grouped together, and they fought war with the Holkar at Indore. So see, they are fighting within themselves. It was not a fight with the British. Okay, so Holkar defeated the combined army of the Peshwa and the Scindia. Holkar became as the winner. The cowardly Peshwa Baji Rao II rushed to the army English and signed subsidiary treaty in 1802. So as the both lost the war with the Holkar, so Peshwa ran to the British and he said like, just sign subsidiary alliance, otherwise Holkar will capture. Okay, so they signed this humiliating treaty with the British. Okay, even after the none of them united together, they all these 4 were left. They saw that, see, this happened with the Peshwas and all, Pune at Pune. Okay, Scindia was also in that grouping. Then they did not learn the lesson. Okay, if one of decided British, then another get to the side of British. So what was happening? If one was deciding to be against to the British, then another group used to get alliance get grouping together with the British. They were going to the side of the British. So that was happening and unity was not present. Ultimately, they started to lose Maratha kingdom as well. So both Sindhia and the Bhosle at Nagpur later became the subsidiary alliance as well. So Peshwa is already became, Sindhia and Bhosle already became, now became the subsidiary alliance, and British gained control over the Odisha courts. Okay. Now the fight with the Holkar. Now fight with the, so it is control under the command. They go into the subsidiary alliance. They came into the subsidiary alliance. Okay. Now Holkar had a fight with the British with a very strong. At the in peace deal was signed with the British, Treaty of Raighat, and thus this message was sent to the England as well, and it was seen as a Lord will say that he is not governing what he is doing in the India. He is always indulged in the fighting, the wars and all. Okay, and due to this, the huge cost of money is also being spent. Okay, so profit is going down. So this gave a bad impression in the England regarding Lord Wellesley. Okay, the Treaty of Raighat was signed, a peace treaty with the Holkar in 1886 was signed, given back to the Holkar the greater part of his territory. Whatever the territory was captured for the Holkar was given back, and as the cost of war to the British increased, the debt and the Wellesley was therefore recalled from the India, and then peace deal was made. Okay, so so the Lord Wellesley was called, as the bad impression was then in the British, and what, like, they thought like, what is he doing in the India? He is always indulging in the fight expand due to this expansionist policy. Okay, and at the end, Napoleon, that was the French military general, was became the great threat to the British in Europe at that time. So British was disturbed at that time. It was not a stable. Okay, thus he was also called from the India, and they said like, why you are indulging in a fight with, or why you are making a instability kind of things in India? Just do the business and get the profit and come back to Britain. So that was the whole thing that was seen in that period, and the Holkar was called off. And I have talked that Wellesley followed three expansionist policy. One was the subsidiary alliance. Second was outright war. What does outright war means? Like sudden attack, or group together, make unity together, or break the rules and have a sudden attack to the empire and capture the place. That was like the outright war kind of situation, was the second method for him for the expansionist policy. And third was the assume on the territory as the previous subordinated ruler. So it was like giving the territory to the ruler who was ruling before. Okay, like in the case of Mysore, we have seen Mysore was given to that king from whom the Hyder Ali captured the Mysore region. Okay, so this was whole the methods of expansionist policy of Lord Wellesley. I hope you have understand this lecture. Please like and subscribe. This is a new channel. I really need your support further. If you want any on-demand video lecture, please feel free to ping on my Twitter handle. If you want this PPT or in the PDF format, just give a comment or ping me on the whatever the social media platform has been mentioned on the channel. Okay, thank you.